After coming back to life, I decided I didn't want anything more to do with Daniel Chen. When he mentioned he was heading to the county town for the university entrance exams, the Gao Kao, and planned to return to City A afterward, I simply wished him good luck without showing much interest. His parents, feeling indebted to my family, insisted on finding me a job in City A. However, Daniel complained that my living habits weren't clean enough, which led me to move into the factory dormitory instead. Later, he told me that our arranged engagement would cause problems with the person he truly loved. I just nodded, feeling indifferent, and agreed to get engaged to someone else right then and there. For this second chance at life, I made sure to choose the opposite path from my previous one in every way possible. This was because in my past life, I had insisted on marrying Daniel, only to endure 30 years of him being cold and distant. He and the woman he loved carried on their relationship, keeping me completely unaware. When I finally discovered the truth, he refused to divorce me because he worried about his reputation. Eventually, the resentment made me sick, and I died feeling hopeless. This time around, my only goal was to live a good life and build something for myself. Later, during the ceremony for my engagement to my new fiancé, Daniel pulled me aside into the attic. His voice was rough as he asked, "Sarah, didn't you promise you would only love me your whole life? Does that promise mean anything anymore?" It was 1980 again, the year before I had married Daniel in my past life. I found myself standing in the middle of a field where the large handheld tractor had broken down once more. My father looked worried as he took the dry tobacco offered by the team captain. "Captain, the tractor's dead again," someone shouted. "We won't finish plowing by dark and tomorrow's watering will be delayed." Men took turns trying to crank the engine, but it wouldn't start. On a nearby wall, painted characters declared, "Vast world full of opportunities, shining under the sun." Tears started to form in my eyes as the reality hit me. I was reborn. My grandfather had arranged my marriage to Daniel, who was an educated youth sent to live with our family back then. In my previous life, I had followed him around constantly. I saved the best eggs and the white steamed buns for him. I washed his clothes and shoes and eagerly took on the dirtiest chores for him. But he never showed any affection for me. His focus was entirely on studying for his exams. I remembered clearly that it was on an afternoon just like this one, with the tractor broken down, that Daniel's tall figure appeared on the edge of the field. He had frowned and told me, "After I take the Gao Cow in the county town, I'm going back to City A." In my past life, I had cried and clung to him, refusing to let him leave. I followed him desperately back to City A and eventually got my wish. I married him. Now, seeing him walk towards me from a distance, I just felt like spitting. He stood before me just as he had in the past, frowning. "Sarah, after I take the Gao Cow in the county town, I'll return to City A." Before I could respond, my father called out, "Sarah, water, fill the engine." My attention was on the tractor, but Daniel grabbed my arm. "Don't worry," he said. "Our Chen family always repays kindness. We'll help arrange a job for you." I managed a calm smile. "The Gao Cow is difficult. I wish you success." Ignoring the surprised look on his face, I ran over and handed the water bottle to my father. As he poured the water into the engine and reached for the crank, I stopped him. "Don't crank it too hard," I said firmly. "It might be a motor failure or a fuel blockage. If you keep forcing it, it might become unfixable." The strong men gathered around the tractor laughed. "Sarah sounds just like a technician, doesn't she?" One chuckled. Another added, "Lee's daughter is usually so quiet. Look at her now." I ignored them, my expression serious. "I want to finish plowing this field before dark. Quickly, bring me the screwdriver and wrench." My calm demeanor seemed more authoritative than the town's actual technician. My father hesitated but handed me the tools. I took them impatiently, quickly took apart the motor, adjusted something inside, and put it back together. Then, I pursed my lips and turned the crank. With a series of coughs, chug, 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 the tractor let out a cloud of black smoke and roared back to life. Everyone stared at me, astonished. I wiped the engine grease off my hands onto my dad's clothes, calmly climbed into the driver's seat, and started driving the tractor across the field. "Don't worry," I called out. "The plowing will be done before dark." Cheers erupted from the onlookers. "Old Lee, your daughter is incredible," someone shouted. My dad looked surprised but grinned proudly, scratching his head. Of course, he chuckled. Look who her father is. Daniel was still standing on the ridge, watching me. The sunlight hit my face as I held the steering wheel, feeling a surge of energy. In my previous life, the time I spent following the master technician at the military factory hadn't been wasted after all. Just then, a familiar figure appeared at the edge of the field. My heart tightened. It was Chloe Wang, the woman Daniel loved. Daniel, have you finished your work in the cowshed? What are you doing standing around here? The production captain's shout cut through the tractor's noise. Chloe lifted her head, ready to argue. Captain, Sarah always did his work before. The Gao cow is coming up. These tasks shouldn't bother Daniel. The captain sneered. I don't care about any Gao cow. Sarah is a valuable worker in our team. She can't be doing your chores. Now, hurry up and leave. He then walked off to supervise work elsewhere. At that moment, my tractor reached that spot. Chloe made a face and waved at me. I didn't want to acknowledge her, but my father, likely still thinking I was the eager girl from my past life, quickly stepped forward to take over the driving for me. I jumped off the tractor, looking impatient. What is it? Daniel gave me a cold look. The captain said you didn't do the work in the cowshed today. Isn't that your job? I replied casually. His handsome brow furrowed. Sarah, how am I supposed to study holding books while doing such dirty work? Chloe glared at me threateningly. If you don't help Daniel, I won't talk to you anymore. Looking at Chloe's pretty face, I remembered how foolish I had been in my past life. Back then, besides being infatuated with Daniel, I had also really liked Chloe. She was attractive, dressed fashionably, had a nice hairstyle, and was considered talented because she was also preparing for the Gao cow. I didn't hang out with the village girls. I treated Chloe like a sister. Daniel was first in my heart, and Chloe was second. I saved all the good things for them. I never imagined they were involved with each other, deceiving me for decades. I smirked coldly. Why should I help him? He doesn't give me work points or food coupons. If you don't want to talk to me, then don't. I don't particularly enjoy talking to you either. Chloe was stunned. In the past, just a look from her would have sent me scrambling to please her. Why was I acting so differently today? Her eyes immediately welled up with tears. Daniel, look at her. She won't help you with your work just for some petty gains, making you sacrifice your study time. Daniel lifted his face, glaring at me with anger. Chloe is here all alone, and this is how you bully her? Work points and food coupons. You're just being narrow-minded. I still need to help Chloe with her studies. Go finish the work in the cowshed. It sounded less like a request and more like an order. Daniel, if you want it done, do it yourself. After saying that, I turned to leave, but Chloe grabbed my arm. I shook her off forcefully. With a thud, Chloe fell to the ground and burst into tears. Daniel looked extremely distressed, his eyes turning red at the corners. He rushed forward and pushed me down. Sarah, don't go too far. My head hit a hard clump of earth, making me dizzy. He hurried to help Chloe up, brushing the dust off her clothes. How are you? Does it hurt? Seeing them so close, I couldn't help but remember scenes from my past life. In the final year before I died, I had seen Daniel and Chloe together with a child, a happy family of 3. Daniel's smile was so bright and warm, a smile he never showed me. As his wife, I had endured his emotional coldness every single day. It felt like my heart had been pierced by countless needles and then trampled in the snow. That evening, Daniel came into the kitchen smelling of cow dung, just like he usually did after finishing his assigned chores. He had to do them, otherwise the captain wouldn't give him the necessary food coupons and work points. He glanced at me as he walked past, and I met his look with disdain. He asked quietly, Sarah, where's the egg? Yes, every other day in my past life, I would secretly save a boiled egg for him, warm and fragrant. I stepped out into the courtyard and announced loudly, the eggs from my house cost 20 cents each. I'm selling them to buy medicine for Grandma. If you want one, pay first. My parents stood at the door, looking at me in surprise. Daniel was furious. Sarah, you're acting like a shrew. I stood there in the darkening courtyard holding my rice bowl. I remembered how, in my past life, Aunt Zhang's daughter, Emily Zhang, had told me that Daniel and Chloe would sneak off behind the haystack every other day to share an egg. At the time, I hadn't believed her. I thought Emily was just jealous because I had what seemed like a good arranged marriage and a good friend like Chloe. But now I understood. He was being rude because I hadn't given him an egg to share with Chloe. Before slamming the door and leaving, he threw one last command over his shoulder. Wash the clothes in that basin. I'm going to the county town the day after tomorrow. In the past, I would have washed his clothes and bed sheets without him even asking. But now, I didn't even glance at the basin. The next morning, Daniel grabbed me, his face sullen. Why didn't you wash the clothes? How can you be so unhygienic? They're your clothes, not mine, I retorted. Chloe appeared at my doorstep again, gesturing towards me. You're a girl. How can you be so careless? Don't you wash your own clothes? Why not wash them together with Daniel's? I sneered. Yet if you care so much about cleanliness, why don't you wash his clothes? Chloe's face turned pale, her lips trembling. I'm a respectable girl. How could I wash a man's clothes? Aren't I a respectable girl too? I replied, finding her logic unbelievable. You're Daniel's arranged marriage partner, naturally. After saying this, she covered her tear-streaked face and ran away. Daniel gripped my wrist tightly, his face contorted with rage as if I had committed some terrible crime against him. Next time, if I see you make her cry again, I won't let you off easily. After saying that, he chased after Chloe to comfort her. Chloe, don't pay attention to that crazy woman. I rubbed my sore wrist, thinking only one thing. I wished those two would just leave. The farther away, the better. To get away from them, I talked to my parents and decided to move to the east end of the village to live with the blacksmith's daughter, May. May was also in her late teens, but her father had recently passed away. Thankfully, she was strong and skilled at forging iron. None of the other girls in the village associated with her, and no men wanted to marry her. But having lived through one life already, I knew she was self-reliant and admirable. I helped her work the bellows while she hammered the iron, and we got along well. Time passed quickly, and soon it was time for the wheat harvest, which meant the Gao cow was approaching. One drizzly day, Daniel showed up at the blacksmith shop again. I accidentally splashed a bucket of water near him, soaking his cloth shoes. He immediately shouted angrily, "Sarah, are you blind while working?" I retorted, "Daniel, are you blind while walking?" He frowned and sat down in front of me, his clothes giving off a faint sour smell. In my past life, I used to love the clean, soapy scent on him, a result of my own washing. "Speak," I said curtly. "What do you want?" "My brother Alex is here," he announced. "He's taking you to work at the military factory in City A. And about our arranged marriage, let's just forget about it." I was taken aback. Alex? In my previous life, the Chen family had arranged for me to go to City A. 2 months after I arrived, Alex Chen, who was a fighter pilot, died in a car accident. His dream of flying was cut short. Unlike Daniel, Alex was kind, polite, and treated people genuinely. When I was working at the factory back then, he had asked someone to look after me and had even given me a brand new bicycle. Such a good person shouldn't die. Perhaps my sad expression made Daniel think it was because of him. "Sarah, you don't have to be so upset," he said. "I won't marry you, but my family has arranged a job for you. It's a rare opportunity." I didn't want to listen to him ramble on. I suddenly stood up and ran out of the blacksmith shop, back towards my family's house. I ran inside, dripping wet like a drowned rat. Alex, dressed in a neat military uniform, stood up and smiled at me. He had the same warm presence that I remembered from my past life, making people feel comfortable around him. "Alex, you're here!" Meeting him for the first time in this life, blurting that out wasn't very reserved, but I couldn't help it. My mind was filled with the urge to tell him, "On September 20th, whatever happens, don't drive." Chloe mocked me from the side. "What, Daniel doesn't want an arranged marriage with you, so now you're going after Alex?" Daniel chimed in, as if my brother would be interested in her. Alex frowned and cut him off. "Shut up, Daniel. Is this how you behave?" Turning to me, he handed me a towel. "Dry your hair." Alex spoke with my father for a long time. They decided that after Daniel finished the Gao cow, Alex would take both of us back to City A. However, the engagement couldn't be rushed. They needed to wait and see how Daniel and I got along in the city. I let out a long sigh of relief. In my previous life, I had married Daniel partly because I was persistent and partly because his parents were determined to repay my family's kindness. When Alex was leaving the village, I gathered my courage and approached him. Alex, can I speak with you privately? Daniel chuckled. Are you really going to cling to my brother now? Chloe sneered. I didn't expect you to fall for anyone you meet. Alex gave them both a stern warning look and led me to the roadside. Sarah, what do you want to say? I frowned, looking serious and earnest. I urge you, please always remember to drive safely. He smiled and patted my head gently. All right, thank you, Sarah, for the reminder. See you next time. After Alex left, rumors about me started spreading through the village. When the captain asked me to repair the tractor, someone laughed. Sarah, Daniel doesn't like you, and now you're interested in his pilot brother? Another joked. Sarah couldn't catch the swan, so now she's aiming for the airplane. Ha ha ha. It was obvious these rumors were spread by Chloe. But having lived another life, I didn't care about gossip anymore. I was living for myself, not for what others thought. Sensible people wouldn't be swayed by rumors anyway. The captain defended me, shouting at the gossipers with his hands on his hips. Can't you keep your mouth shut? Have you earned enough work points? Eaten too much? Keep talking nonsense. And if Sarah stops fixing the tractor for the team, I'll hold you responsible. He then nodded at me. I heard that after the Gao Cow, you're going to City A with them. What will we do if this tractor breaks down then? I wiped the grease off my hands and smiled. Captain, don't worry. I know what usually goes wrong with this tractor. I'll write a maintenance guide for my dad so he can fix it by following the notes. That night, I started writing the maintenance instructions on the back of my brother's old notebook. I worked hard for several days and nights, planning to give it to the captain. But then, the notebook disappeared. I was searching frantically through my room when Chloe walked in with a few other female-educated youths. Sarah, are you looking for this broken notebook? She asked, holding it up. Give it back to me. I stepped forward to grab it. The other girls pinned me down, cursing at me. It's one thing for Daniel to stay at your house, but how dare you make a move on Alex? With a sharp slap, Chloe struck me across the face, her pretty face twisted with anger. Do you think going to City A makes you a city person? Dream on. She held up the repair notebook I had spent days working on. Pinned down, I could only watch helplessly as she tore it into pieces, page by page, right in front of me. Just then, Daniel appeared. Chloe, what are you doing? Chloe's vicious expression immediately changed to one of weakness and self-pity. Daniel, she was making up things about tractor repairs. I was worried she'd ruin the village's tractor, so I tore up the notebook. Daniel looked at the red mark on my face and my messy hair, then gave me a disdainful glance. He said lightly, Chloe, you did well, but this is still the village. Try not to make too much of a scene. As he walked away, Chloe looked at me smugly. If you dare get close to Alex again, you'll end up just like this notebook. I didn't have any extra pens or notebooks left. The pencil I had was already worn down to a tiny stub. Wiping away my tears, I cleaned up the paper fragments from the ground. I decided not to write the notes again. Instead, every day, I followed my father around the tractor, explaining everything I knew verbally. The Gao Cow finally ended. I gathered my bedding and went to the county town, waiting for Alex at the school gate. Daniel and Chloe walked out of the exam hall together, looking arrogant, as if they were already successful university students. Finish the exam? Come on, get in the car. I'll take you into the city. Turning towards the voice, I saw Alex. He walked up to me and helped me pick up my worn-out luggage bag. Don't just stand there, get in. The car drove for several hours before finally reaching City A. It stopped in front of a small alley to drop off Chloe, then continued into the military district compound. Looking at the familiar Chen family villa, I turned to Alex. Didn't you say you arranged a job for me? Can I stay in the dormitory? I don't want to see Daniel. Daniel scoffed coldly. What? Isn't this the life you always dreamed of? Now that it's right here, you don't want it? Are you playing games? You really have a lot of tricks. Before I could argue, Alex advised, Sarah, it's too late now. I'll take you to the military factory tomorrow morning. But even when you start working, you can't stay in the dormitory right away. You should live at home for now. Trust me. He carried my tattered luggage inside, settled me into a room, and brought new bedding. 2 sets so you can alternate, he said, kindly preserving my dignity since my old bedding was practically unusable. Watching him help me get settled, I picked up the calendar nearby with a heavy heart. It was July 10th. There were exactly 72 days left until September 20th. I resolved to remind him every single day. Alex, please be sure to drive safely. But I still didn't know if I could actually prevent the accident from happening. The next day, Alex took me back to the military factory. In my previous life, this was where I had learned so many skills. Unfortunately, I hadn't been very focused back then, spending too much time thinking about Daniel and neglecting important things. Just like before, Alex introduced me to the factory director, who then took me to the workshop area. As we approached the equipment maintenance department, I saw my master technician from my past life, the beautiful but fiery Master May, through the window. I rushed up and gave her a big hug. Master, I missed you. She looked at the factory director in confusion. Where did this wild girl come from, jumping on people the moment she meets them? Is she a puppy? Wiping tears from my eyes, I nodded. Yes, I am indeed a puppy. Master May seemed both amused and annoyed, but she accepted me as her apprentice right then and there. And so I began my life working at the factory and commuting from the Chen family's villa. That evening, Alex gave me a brand new bicycle. Sarah, comrade, he said, it will be much more convenient for you to ride this bike to work. I touched the shiny handlebars, my eyes filling with tears of gratitude. Just then, Daniel remarked from the side, she's just a country girl. She probably can't even ride a bicycle. Give this one to me. I'll give it to Chloe. It's inconvenient for her to get around. Coincidentally, Chloe was visiting the Chen family at that moment. She chimed in with a cheerful smile. Yes, Alex, lend it to me for a few days. I'll return it to you. I grabbed the bicycle firmly. Who says I can't ride? With that, I hopped on and skillfully rode a lap around the yard. Alex applauded me and reminded Daniel, Sarah is part of our family. You can't treat her like that. Daniel tried to hide his surprise. What kind of family is she? Her shabby luggage has already dirtied our house. Alex seemed about to argue further, so I quickly interjected. Alex, I will definitely take good care of this bicycle. In the future, when I earn money, I'll pay you back. I added, Master said the beginning stages of learning are very busy, so I should stay in the dormitory. Although I knew I should move out, I said this. Daniel remarked, quite sensible. With no other reason to object, Alex agreed. Finally, I received my first salary, 20 ween. I bought a diary and carefully wrote down all the tractor maintenance details I remembered. Then, I rode my new bike to the post office to mail the diary home to my father. At the entrance of the post office, I unexpectedly ran into Alex. It turned out the Gao Cow results were out, and he had brought Daniel there to wait for his university admission letter. Alex noticed the notebook cover and saw the words, tractor repair. He took it and flipped through the pages, looking surprised and pleased. Sarah, did you write this? Is this your handwriting? I nodded, feeling a little embarrassed. In my past life, Master May had gotten so frustrated trying to teach me basic writing and technical drawing that she almost gave up. Our Sarah is quite talented too, Alex said with a smile. For some reason, whenever I saw his smile, I was reminded of the car accident from my past life, and tears would well up in my eyes. Daniel, I didn't pass the exam. What should I do? Not far away, I heard Chloe crying. Daniel was patiently patting her back. It's okay, I'll tutor you this year. You can definitely pass next time. Seeing the two of them together made me feel uncomfortable, so I grabbed my notebook and went inside the post office. When I came out, I found Alex still waiting. I thought he was waiting for Daniel, but he stopped me. Come on, he said. I have something to tell you. At that moment, Daniel frowned at me. Bro, we still need to take Chloe home. Alex replied stiffly. You take her, not me. Chloe, her eyes red and swollen like walnuts, glanced at me. Daniel, Alex still has to take care of others. I can walk back by myself. Daniel pointed at me angrily. Sarah, you really have some skills. You've actually made my brother interested in you." His voice was quite loud, and the people nearby waiting for their mail all looked over. The female educated youths who had bullied me with Chloe back in the village were also there, and they glared at me with hostility. Alex stepped in front of me. "Daniel, you bastard! Sarah is our family. Why are you helping outsiders target her?" Saying that, he turned around and led me away. Daniel watched us leave, looking like he wanted to say something but couldn't. Alex asked me, "Do you want to take the Gao Cow?" In my previous life, Master May had asked me the same question, but back then, I was too busy chasing after Daniel and had no interest in studying. Now, however, having just seen the admission letter in Daniel's hand, I felt a strong sense of envy. "Can I do it?" I asked hesitantly. Alex seemed more confident in me than I was. "Of course you can. Apply for the mechanical engineering major. There's a tutoring class outside the factory. Your English foundation is weak, but I can give you extra tutoring." Before I even had time to process it that very afternoon, he took me to register for the exam and even lent me the money for the registration and textbook fees. I didn't know how to thank him enough. Feeling anxious about the looming date, I asked him, "Alex, can you spend the day with me on September 20th? It's a weekend." He was usually cheerful and open, but at this moment, he actually blushed slightly. "It's settled then," he agreed. From then on, my life revolved around the dormitory, the workshop, and the tutoring class. Alex made it a point to meet me at the tutoring class each time to save me travel time and help me with my English studies. Life was busy but structured, and I felt like a new, better future was opening up for me. September 20th finally arrived. I got to the Chen family's front door at 6 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't sure if Alex planned to go out for a run or perhaps drive somewhere far to buy breakfast like soy milk. I was determined to make sure he stayed safe for the entire day. I waited for a while, and eventually Chloe arrived carrying fried dough sticks and steamed buns. She looked at me smugly. "Sarah, you really have no shame at all." The young aunt who woke up early opened the door and let us both in. Inside, Daniel looked me up and down. "You really have become my brother's shadow, sticking to him constantly." Alex stepped in. "What she wants to do is her business. It's not for you to judge." Daniel gave a cold smile. "Stephen, let me tell you, when I was an educated youth in the countryside, she treated me the exact same way. She saved the best food for me, washed my clothes, and even did the dirty work in the cowshed for me. She couldn't see any hope with me, so she turned to you. You're just my substitute." Seeing Alex raise his hand as if to hit him, I quickly held Alex back and gently shook my head. Daniel wasn't lying. I used to be like that. And what I was doing now with Alex in the eyes of others probably did look like I was just clinging to him, but I didn't care about any of that anymore. My only mission today was to ensure Alex remained safe and sound. "Today, I'll stay here at the Chen house and won't go anywhere else," I said, looking at Alex with determination. "Please help me with a day of tutoring." Chloe chuckled. "I've seen a lot in my life, but never someone with skin as thick as a city wall." Alex gave her a cold glance and then said to me, "All right, I'll help you." Chloe's face fell, but Daniel wasn't pleased either. "You promised yesterday you'd take me and Chloe to the suburbs." "Going to the suburbs? Doesn't that require driving?" Panic surged through me and my eyes turned red. "Alex, please don't drive today." "Why?" Daniel grabbed my wrist, looking panicked himself. Alex pulled Daniel's hand off me. "You two can take the bus yourselves. I'm going to help Sarah with her review." Chloe became anxious. "Alex, Sarah is notorious back in the village, yet you still defend her?" It wasn't surprising to hear such words from her, but being attacked so suddenly felt like being plunged into ice water. I couldn't move. I only heard Alex say firmly, "Chloe, our Chen family does not welcome you. Please leave." For the entire day, Alex stayed in his room with me, helping me review my study materials. He didn't show the slightest bit of impatience. After 8 o'clock in the evening, I asked if I could stay overnight at the Chen family home. He exclaimed with obvious delight, "Sure, I'd be more than happy." I stayed in the guest room, anxiously waiting until the clock struck 12, marking the end of September 20th. I deliberately walked downstairs, making some noise. Alex came out of his room, stood on the stairs, and looked down at me. "Thirsty or hungry?" he asked. Confirming that he was safe and sound, I silently smiled. "I'll just pour myself a glass of water." Having safely passed September 20th, I returned to my intense routine of studying and working. Until one day, Chloe reappeared at the military factory. It turned out she had failed the Gao Cow again, studied for a while longer, saw no hope of passing, and eventually gave up. Daniel had arranged for her to work as a packer in the packaging workshop. At the end of spring, the military factory district held its annual employee skills competition. I represented the equipment workshop in the final round for the Gold Award evaluation. Surprisingly, Chloe, despite being slow and producing poor quality packaging, also somehow made it to the final Gold Award round. At noon that day, Daniel came to find me. "Sarah, your performance today was indeed excellent," he began, "but Chloe needs this Gold Award more than you do." I crossed my arms and looked at him coldly. "And why is that?" "With this Gold Award," he explained, "Chloe can secure an office job and won't have to do the hard physical labor in the workshop anymore. She's physically weak, unlike you. You're strong and capable." I chuckled softly. "What will I get in return, then?" Daniel, who had been trying to negotiate, suddenly looked annoyed. "The Chen family has already arranged a job for you. What more do you want?" Finding the situation amusing, I pretended to be sincere. "Don't worry," I said. "I will definitely cooperate well in the afternoon's evaluation." However, that afternoon, I performed at my usual high standard and deservedly received the Gold Award. In this life, Master Mei could finally be proud of my achievements. After the evaluation ended, Daniel supported a sobbing Chloe as they confronted me. "Why did you deceive us?" he demanded. Just then, Alex came over. "Daniel," he said sharply, "do you think others don't know about your little tricks? And you still have the nerve to question Sarah?" Everyone present heard Alex's shout and started looking at Daniel and Chloe with knowing, strange expressions. Humiliated, they had no choice but to leave dejectedly. In the blink of an eye, another year passed, and it was time for the Gao Cow again. After a full year of tutoring with Alex's help, combined with the knowledge foundation I had from my past life, I felt very confident about the exam. Walking out of the exam hall, I saw Alex leaning against his car, looking handsome and cheerful. "Let's go," he said. "My parents have returned from their trip down south, and they want to treat you to dinner." Alex brought me into the house. I saw Uncle Chen and Aunt Chen sitting with gloomy faces. Daniel and Chloe were there too, and they didn't look very happy either. It seemed like something had already happened before we arrived. After I sat down, Uncle Fu started talking about how my grandfather had saved his life years ago, and then he brought up the topic of my arranged marriage with Daniel. "Daniel, how about it?" Uncle Fu asked. "After spending this time together, do you still feel the same way as before?" "Yes, I do," Daniel replied firmly. "Very well," Uncle Fu sighed. "This engagement is settled then. This way," Daniel added, looking gently at Chloe. "Chloe won't misunderstand me." Aunt Chen looked at me with embarrassment. "Sarah, what do you think?" I smiled. Then I wished Daniel and the person he loves a long and happy life together. Seeing that I showed no sign of hesitation or reluctance, Daniel's apparent happiness seemed to deflate slightly. But at that moment, Alex stood up, took my hand, and announced, "Dad, Mom, since everyone is here, I might as well be straightforward. Sarah and I are getting engaged." "What?" Daniel and Chloe exclaimed almost simultaneously. I also looked at Alex in surprise, but he didn't let go of my hand. "Didn't we agree yesterday?" he prompted, subtly scratching my palm. "Are you going to back out today?" Taking his cue, I responded with an "O." Then I added, "Yes, please, Uncle and Aunt, give us your blessing." Uncle and Aunt Chen were very happy. "Good, good, this way. Everyone is happy." After the gathering, Alex pulled me into his room. He lowered his eyes and said, "I didn't mean to make things difficult for you just now. I just can't stand him bullying you." I tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. "I understand," I said softly. "I won't take it seriously." Alex's face suddenly became animated and he grabbed my hand again. "No, you have to take it seriously and make it real." "Why?" I asked in a muffled voice, looking down at, because Daniel will still mock you, try to suppress you, and I don't want that." Was all I managed before running out of Alex's room in a panic. As I rushed out, I accidentally bumped into Chloe, who was standing near the door. Chloe immediately clutched her stomach and sank to the ground. Bright red blood started flowing from under her skirt. She had suffered a miscarriage. Was she already pregnant? Daniel held Chloe, looking devastated, and cursed at me. "Sarah, is this how jealous you are that I like her? You actually killed our child." Alex quickly intervened. "Let's go to the hospital first. Things aren't clear yet. Don't make baseless accusations." The whole summer passed as I waited for my Gaokao results, peacefully spending time with Alex. My hard work paid off. The bright red official acceptance letter finally arrived. I showed it to Alex and he held me tightly in his arms. "Sarah, I knew you could do it." Just as I was excitedly preparing to start university, a story was published in the newspaper. It accused me of pushing Daniel's fiancée, Chloe, causing her to miscarry. At the factory, people started pointing at me behind my back, whispering things like, "And she calls herself a college student?" Such a strong sense of jealousy. Because of this incident, officials from the university came to investigate me, saying they might have to revoke my admission. I felt like I had been struck by lightning. A year's worth of hard work was about to be wasted. When I was at my lowest point, feeling completely lost, Alex brought a set of photos to the investigators, asking them to keep the matter confidential. The photos showed Chloe entering a hotel room with a fat, older man in a suit and pictures of them embracing inside. This suggested that her child was very likely not Daniel's. Therefore, it seemed she had used the slight bump from me as an opportunity to induce a miscarriage. This way, she not only gained Daniel's sympathy but also ruined my reputation, truly killing two birds with one stone. Unfortunately for her, Alex had exposed her entire plan. Alex then secretly showed the same set of photos to Daniel. After that, Chloe never appeared at the Chen family home again. As for Daniel, he was never the same. He shut himself in his room all day, even skipping his university classes. The engagement party for Alex and me was held as scheduled. During the event, Daniel stood from a distance in the crowd, watching me. My gaze swept past him and finally landed on Alex. "Alex," I said softly, "from now on, I will take this seriously." He lowered his head and smiled. "Then you're taking it seriously later than I did. I was serious long before you." As the evening banquet ended and Alex went to see the guests off, Daniel seized a moment when no one was around and pulled me up to the attic. His eyes were red as he spoke to me, his voice hoarse. "Sarah, didn't you say you would only love me for a lifetime? Does your promise still hold?" I smiled and gently pushed him away. "That was a long time ago, Daniel. Don't take it seriously." He squatted on the ground, looking utterly dejected, like a deflated balloon. I walked down from the attic, found Alex, took his hand, and together we moved towards our new life.